Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, I had a notification from Blue Sky yesterday from G, who told me there's another update that we haven't covered yet on some drama about the OP skipping their sister's wedding. So we're going to look into that one today. Thank you very much, G. This story has multiple updates as well, so if you want to skip certain parts of it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you, you cheeky so-and-so, and let's crack on with it. The story started on the Am I the Arsehole subreddit 3 years ago from Brother Conflict and said, would I be the arsehole if I skipped my sister's wedding? I, 23 male, am one of 7 kids. There's Lydia, 31 female, Josh, 28 male, Leo, 25 male, me, then Erin, 21 female, Nadia, 18 female, and the surprise child, Lexi, 4 female. With that many siblings, it's easy to get lost in the crowd. Some of us have our positions, so to speak. Lydia is the oldest, Lexi's the baby, I have a kid. Yes, that's my descriptor. OP gave us a grandchild. Erin is the golden child. She was the last planned child, the one supposed to tie up our family. She was born premature, so I understand that my parents coddled her to an extent, but it's more than that now. Erin's getting married and recently told us that she brought the date forward due to a cancellation. No big deal. It just means they're getting married sooner, but the new date lands on the date of Nadia's high school graduation. Erin was sympathetic, but said she's already committed to the date. They've printed the invitations. My parents normally go overboard on our high school grads, but they said they'd just have to miss Nadia's. We were all sympathetic, but it wasn't intentional, or so I thought. But Nadia later told me and Leo that she was there when Erin got the call about the cancellation and told Erin that she was graduating that day, but Erin just laughed and accepted the date anyway. This, as much as I hate to admit, sounds like a very Erin thing to do. She booked her engagement part of the night of Nadia's 18th birthday. Luckily, she wasn't celebrating until the weekend. She announced her engagement at my oldest sister's wedding anniversary. Everything is about her. I confronted Erin about this, and she said that Nadia's high school graduation didn't matter. She wanted to get married to the love of her life sooner, and our family had been to plenty of high school graduations at this point anyway. She said something like, we still have Lexi. But here's what gets me the most. Nadia's been looking forward to this for so long. She's watched all of us graduate and have these huge celebrations thrown by our parents. I asked Nadia what she wanted, and she said she wanted to have her day. So I told my family that me and Nadia won't be attending the wedding. Leo has also dropped out. Everyone's angry. Erin's furious, and I didn't make it better by telling her that I could watch our other siblings get married, since it's all the same in her eyes. Mum is trying to convince me to come to the wedding because graduation isn't as important. But I feel like if I don't do this, then it sets a precedent in Nadia's life that she's always going to mean less than Erin. I've had messages calling me an arsehole, an idiot, etc. They're telling me to step up and be a good brother, but that's what I'm doing. My son is supposed to be ring bearer, but with how my family is reacting, I'm considering putting him out at the wedding too. My dad's told Nadia he'll take her to dinner after the wedding. Nadia is currently staying with me because Mum won't stop cornering her. Am I the arsehole? Now clearly there's a pattern in this. We've seen it many times in the past, right? Booking things over birthdays, hijacking other people's comments, and now knowingly choosing her sister's graduation day. It's not an accident, is it? It's a choice. And the parents are just absolutely bloody awful backing it up, saying the graduation isn't as important. It might not be to you, but it is to Nadia. She's watched every other sibling get their moment, and now it's finally her turn. It's getting brushed aside. It takes the piss. OP is absolutely doing the right thing. He isn't ruining the wedding. He's making sure his sister is actually getting to feel like she matters, that she's seen for once. A commenter says, not the arsehole. Erin tried to make her little sister's graduation all about her, and you're being a good big brother and standing up for Nadia. Also, I'm extra petty, but I would pull your son out of the wedding in solidarity for Nadia. By the way, I could watch our other siblings get married. This is all the same in her eyes. Boom. Too true, that was a good comment, I thought. My trauma dumpy says, not the arsehole. Please don't be petty. The following things would be petty, which I don't recommend doing. Pull your son last minute from the wedding. show up to the reception with Nadia in a graduation robe, make a speech congratulating Erin on the wedding, and then shift it to Nadia for being such a good sport. Nadia, thank you. Thank you for sacrificing your special day for the sake of Erin. I know we usually throw huge celebrations for graduations, but you knew, or I guess were told, how special this day was for Erin. Keep asking Erin and your mum if you can make use of their reception as a party for Nadia as well. Use your son as leverage. Book a performer. Become play a song congratulating Nadia and then leave without acknowledging the wedding. There is so much trouble you can cause at the reception. Mopper says not the arsehole at all, and I would have done the same as you. What Erin and your folks don't seem to get is when they say graduation is less important, that's not what Nadia hears. She hears Nadia is less important, and Erin certainly has a history of treating her that way. Good for you for trying to help Nadia feel like she matters too. Economy replies saying Erin already had her engagement party on Nadia's birthday too, and announced her engagement at the other sister's wedding. She must just hate her sisters. She's so self-centered. Opie replies saying, and those are just 2 examples. Here are some honorable mentions. I proposed to my partner 2 months after Erin got engaged. This proposal was something I've been planning for months, something my family had been aware of for months, and fell on the day that's significant to me and my partner. Erin was angry because I should have waited until this year so she'd be married beforehand. Our brother Josh was cheated on a few years back. It really broke his heart and his confidence was in tatters for a while afterwards. Erin asked him if he could give her a necklace he'd bought for his girlfriend because it's not like he needed it. A few days after the incident took place, when he yelled at her, she cried to our parents about how she was trying to help him. She broke her leg the morning of Josh's graduation. It was an accident, but all of us agreed that it was pretty on brand for her. Bloody hell, that's some dedication if that's true. Holy moly. So Opie comes in with her update and says it's 2 days after D-Day and I finally come bearing an update. I've had to condense it quite a bit because a lot has happened. Before I start, Nadia wanted me to thank everyone who congratulated her on her graduation. She was overwhelmed by the support you all gave her, especially after she faced such opposition from our family. So let's start. Last Friday, Leo and I went to speak to our parents and Erin. I wanted to tell them that I'd be pulling my son from the wedding. Our older siblings ended up turning up as well, so it was us 4 standing up for Nadia. Leo had spoken to them the night before and helped them see things more clearly from Nadia's eyes. Apparently, it didn't sink in with them that Erin chose the date intentionally. There was a lot of yelling. Erin accused me of trying to sabotage her wedding. Our parents tried to convince me to let them take my son to the wedding, but I stood my ground. I felt a lot stronger with my older siblings with me. There's only 2 years between me and Erin after all. I'm not much of an older brother. Luckily, Lydia was there. Her words carry more weight as the eldest, and she didn't give Erin or my parents room to argue, as she told them that Erin chose the date intentionally, admitted as much in front of me and Leo, and that this was normal behavior for her. Lydia told them that if they continued to favor Erin so blatantly, the rest of us would go no contact, and Lexi would likely follow in the future. Our dad started yelling, not at us, but at Erin. Surprisingly, I've never seen him so angry before, and to see it directed at Erin was shocking. Our mum asked us to leave. We didn't hear from anyone on that side until Monday when Erin's fiance George asked to meet us at our parents'. He apologized to Nadia. He didn't know that the wedding and graduation overlapped, nor did he know that it was something Erin did on purpose. Her dad was the one to tell him. What followed was a long talk between us, during which we all aired our grievances. I told our parents that we all felt that they valued Erin more, that none of us mattered to them compared to her. Her artwork always went up on the fridge, ours always went in the drawer. I told them that as a parent, I could never imagine treating my child like that. Erin tried to argue. She tried to tell us that we were trying to turn her into a bad guy, trying to turn our parents against her, trying to sabotage her wedding. Our mum told her to be quiet, that it was our time to talk. George stepped in to tell us that he didn't expect us to attend the wedding, but we were welcome to attend the reception. He went so far as to say that he wished he could have cancelled the wedding altogether, but it had cost him more money than he had spent by bringing it forward. Mum's willingness to hear us out lasted less than 24 hours. By Tuesday, she was begging us to reconsider. Apparently our feelings meant nothing in the face of Erin's dire stress and the fact that people would be questioning our absence on the big day. I haven't spoken to my mum since, but I did ask my dad to bring some of Nadia's things because she's going to be staying with me full time. We have officially gone no contact with our mother. Dad took Nadia out for an early graduation celebration on Wednesday. They had a daddy-daughter date that I think she really needed. He apologized for a lot of things and told her he wanted to do the same for the rest of us, but Wednesday was about her. I'm happy that she got one-on-one time with him. She was happy coming home to me. In our sibling group chat, she said she really thinks Dad is going to try and mend bridges with us, even if Mum won't. Dad also turned up early yesterday morning. I'm talking 6:30 a.m. to give Nadia flowers. He told her he was proud of her. George even called while he was getting ready for his big day to congratulate Nadia, which I really appreciated. We didn't hear from Mum or Erin. Our paternal grandma ended up coming to the graduation with us. It was a great day, like a really great day. We didn't think about the wedding, didn't think about Erin, we just had fun together. My son got to wear his aunt's cap and gown and nearly drowned in the fabric. Our grandma tried on the cap too. We took photos and sent them to our dad, who posted them in a Facebook post he wrote to congratulate both Erin on her wedding and Nadia on her graduation, and we both laughed about how it must have pissed off our newly wedded sister. We went out for dinner and we, as siblings, gifted Nadia money for a week away with her best friend, which somebody suggested in a comment on the initial post. I text George my congratulations. Despite everything, I do hope he and Erin are happy together. While she might not love us, I don't doubt that Erin loves him. Yes, she wants a spotlight in her moment, but I don't think she's marrying him just for that. Bringing the wedding forward? Sure, that's a hugely malicious tactic to bring herself more attention. Marrying him for the sake of having a wedding? She isn't that type of narcissist. As of right now, I plan on staying no contact with my mom unless she makes some big changes. This is a sentiment shared not only by the majority of my siblings, but is also encouraged by our dad and grandma. She's tried reaching out to me and my partner, mostly berating us for not attending the wedding and accusing us of planning to keep her grandchild away from her. At the moment, our summer looks busy. We're planning on filling it with as many family outings as possible before Nadia leaves for college. We've also got Josh's 29th birthday to plan. Our dad is even joining in. This might cause a bigger rift between him and Mum, but for now at least it looks like we're his priority. Lydia's threat really did something to him. Thanks everyone who left comments on the original post. I know they really cheered Nadia up when she was worrying about whether or not she was doing the right thing by choosing herself. Part of me wishes we could have taken this stand earlier, but it took us quite a while to find our voices. Looking into the future, I see 2 empty spaces at my own wedding, but I also see 5 siblings cheering me on. I'm happy with that. Now we have, as I said, multiple updates to this as well, so there's more to come, but this update feels like years worth of stuff finally coming to the surface, because it was never about the wedding and the graduation. It was about a lifetime of Erin being put first, the golden child, and everyone else being pushed aside for her. And absolutely the dad should be apologizing at the same time, and I think it's a really important part of the update, because let's face it, at the end of the day, this didn't start with Erin. It started with the parents, the favoritism, the way that she was treated differently growing up. That's what created this whole dynamic in the first place, right? So the dad finally recognizing it, apologizing, and actually showing up for Nadia, it's huge, but it doesn't fix everything overnight at the same time, but it's a step in the right direction. So it was 5 months after this that Opie came in again and said, it's been about 5 months since I've last posted, and I've had some requests for an update, so I figured I'd sit down and write one up. Bear in mind, a lot can happen in 5 months, and that's definitely true for this. Let me start off with July. Erin and George went on their honeymoon, and their absence sent our mum into a frenzy. She wasn't used to having no one around. Someone was always visiting, mostly Erin, but the rest of us would visit out of obligation and to see Nadia and Lexi. With Erin on her honeymoon and the rest of us no contact, Mum had no visitors, and she really didn't like that. Literally the day after Erin left, we started getting bombarded with phone calls. She tried convincing Nadia first, which Lydia thought was a strategic move because Nadia is the more timid of all of us, and thus more likely to be persuaded. When Nadia turned her down, she turned her sights on the rest of us. We all got identical phone calls with her trying to persuade us to go visit her, to understand her, to see things from Erin's perspective. She even brought up the circumstances of Erin's premature birth and how it was a miracle that she's even here. Josh told her to do better with Lexi. Lydia blocked her number. When the phone calls didn't work, she started turning up at our homes. She continued spewing much of the same shit she had over the phone before the wedding. She didn't understand what she had done so wrong, why we were treating her like this. She called me ungrateful and disrespectful. She accused us of harboring unnecessary jealousy towards Erin and that she loved us all equally. I didn't respond to these comments. I was just trying to prevent her from going inside and saying the same things to Nadia, who was with my partner and son in the living room. I Her comments didn't deserve a response, and when she was done, I asked her to leave as calmly as I could, but truthfully, I felt a little like crying. But who wouldn't feel shitty with their mum yelling in their face like that, trying to downplay years of pain and calling it unnecessary jealousy? My siblings and I have been let down time and time again by her and our dad ever since Erin was born. They missed out on so many things over the years, both big and small, but we had one thing that they never missed, and we were happy with that just one thing. And that was our high school graduations. But they couldn't even give that to Nadia. All we had were our high school graduations. They missed Josh's college graduation because Erin broke her leg. It was an accident, I get that, but they never made it up to him. They never celebrated this huge achievement afterwards, and he just had to grin and bear it. Our mum didn't turn up to my partner's baby shower after making such a huge fuss about it because Erin didn't want to go and wanted them to get their nails done together instead. But our jealousy is unnecessary. Sorry. I don't know how I managed to stay calm when she was yelling at me, but I did. Asking her to leave made her switch tactics though, and she started calling out for my son, trying to coax him to go to her and telling me that she had a right to see her grandson. My partner stepped in then because she was seething and took my place at the door. Mum yelled some more, but she left when my partner threatened to call the cops. Mum repeated this song and dance with my older siblings, but similarly got nowhere with them. Then came the Facebook posts. Indirect rants about ungrateful people and how shocking it is that some kids could turn against their parents so easily. Erin somehow got involved while on a honeymoon and called Lydia to scold her for being mean to our mum. But as I said before, Lydia is angry and she's had enough. Whatever she said to Erin prevented her from calling the rest of us. There was then a Facebook post about how much it hurt to be kept from a grandchild. Now, there were no names mentioned, but there is only one grandchild and that is my son. My mum's sister called me. There was yelling, I blocked the number. I know Dad was trying to convince our mum to just leave us alone. He kept apologizing because she just wasn't listening to him. Erin came home after 2 weeks. She tried reaching out to Lydia again, asking for us all to talk because, and this is a quote from Lydia, clearly we have some issues to work out. We did not turn up. Erin was very angry at that because she's not used to us turning up for her. July wasn't all bad though. While our mum was on a rampage, our dad was still trying to do better by us, and he's improved a lot. In July, he and I went for a meal together, just the two of us, and grabbed a drink, and he apologized. It wasn't a generic apology that he could have repeated to all of us about how sorry he is that he hurt us and neglecting us, but he brought up specific instances that he wanted to apologize for. He thought back on all those years and picked out moments that he wanted to apologize to me for. I know he did the same for the others, but having him apologize for things like cancelling a fishing trip because Erin needed him was something I wasn't expecting. And I never really cared for fishing, but I wanted to go on that trip because I always saw it on TV, you know. I'd always see a dad and son fishing together, and I wanted to have that. I wanted Dad to prove that I was a priority to him somewhere deep down. It didn't happen, and I never asked again. But we went fishing in July. What started as a trip between the two of us soon grew into a family day out when my siblings expressed an interest in going fishing too. My brothers first, then Nadia, and even Lydia, who hates the smell of fish. Dad brought Lexi and I brought my son, and it was great. It was one of the best days of my life. I suck at fishing, but I'm pretty great at collecting seashells. It was brilliant. Our parents did end up arguing when Dad went home. I wasn't there, so I don't know every little detail, but from what Dad told me, the argument was mostly because Mum didn't understand why we were still in contact with him and not her. She found it insulting that we were repairing our relationship with him. She was angry that Dad wasn't pushing us to forgive her, or why he wasn't stopping us from acting out. She was angry that he didn't extend an invitation to her and Erin for the fishing trip, and she was even angrier when he explained that their presence would make us uncomfortable. Josh turned 29 at the end of July. We booked an escape room for the 5 of us siblings, then we met our dad and partners for dinner that evening. Josh introduced us to his new partner for the first time. All of our attention was on Josh. The day was completely about him, which was a first for our family. Then there was a party thrown for him by his friends, which I came out with a massive hangover. Mum started giving us the silent treatment in the middle of August. Dad moved out in September. While we were getting the silent treatment, Dad was bearing the brunt of her anger, and it really took it out of him. He was trying to do better by us, and she was trying to villainize us, and he ultimately told her if she didn't take accountability for her actions soon, then he'd be contacting a lawyer. Mum didn't take him seriously. He's been staying in Lydia's guest room since. Mum doubled down and said that he was blind for not seeing how we were manipulating him. Unlike the rest of us, Dad obviously still has regular contact with Erin, and according to him, she's even told Mum to reconsider. Unsurprisingly, Erin's involvement is what got Mum to relent. I'm not sure if she's thinking about how she's treated us or if she's silently stewing. I know she asked Dad if he's going to move back home, but he said that it was better for them to have space right now. Personally, I'm struggling to see an outcome where our mum sincerely admits that she was in the wrong. I think she'd just say it to get Dad back home and the rest of us talking to her again. I don't think she'll ever hold us to the same level as Erin. In brighter news, there's officially less than a year left until my own wedding. Currently, there is no place for my mum or Erin. My partner Jade and I are having our fathers wear ties that match me and my groomsmen, something I originally didn't plan to do, but I'm happy with the change. Nadia's settled in at college. She's made some new friends with kids in her classes and she's enjoying. She's happy. Even though we have an active group chat, she FaceTimes me every few days just to talk. Most of what she says I've already read in the group chat, but I'm always willing to listen to her stories again. Nadia never used to talk this much. She looks a lot happier now than she did 5 months ago. I think that's everything. I'm sorry for the novel, but like I said, a lot can happen in 5 months. So again, OP comes in 7 months after that update and says, so it's been about 7 months since my last update. I thought one was well overdue. Actually intended on sitting down and writing one out a few months ago, but life got in the way. A lot has happened, most of it good, some of it not. I'm sure you can guess what or who the reason for the not good moments were. Mum was silent through Lydia's birthday in October, but made a huge song and dance for Erin's in November. None of us make it a habit to check her social media accounts, and honestly would have blocked her if it weren't for Lexi. But Leo sent a screenshot in the group chat about a post she had made. The post essentially painted Erin as the perfect child, her precious angel, and said how she'd always be proud of her. She didn't even mention Lydia on her page at all during her birthday, but I can't say I'm surprised. Thanksgiving was different, but fun. We all drove to our paternal grandparents' place a few hours away to spend it with them. Technically, it was supposed to be an in-law year since Jade and I tend to switch who we spend it with so that neither one of our families were being left out, but she suggested we switch it up this year so I could be with my siblings on the first big holiday since the fallout. My in-laws are great people and have been really supportive throughout all of this, and I'm really grateful for them too. Mum didn't reach out to us on the day, but I could tell she was fuming. It didn't help that she was being asked questions after Lydia posted a Thanksgiving Day photo that didn't include her or Erin. In December, she started a group chat with all of us and that essentially telling us it was time to stop this petty drama and focus on family. But none of us are stupid. We all know she wanted to show off her picture-perfect family over Christmas, and how could she do that when all but 2 of her children can't stand to be near her? Erin was in the group but didn't speak up, which was odd for her, but none of us really thought much of it at the time. Dad said he'd swing by to see Lexi, but he had no interest in spending Christmas with her until she was ready to admit to the pain that they'd caused us. A week later, my birthday also went ignored by her, but that was fine. It only proved that she had no intention of admitting that she was the bad guy. She got more desperate as Christmas drew closer. The messages and phone calls started up again, but I could ignore those for the most part. What I couldn't ignore was coming home from work to find her on my doorstep. She told me she'd been waiting for ages, like I was expecting her visit and had done it intentionally, which, honestly, I probably would have given the state of our relationship. I'm just grateful my family wasn't home. Jade was on her way back from work herself and our son with her parents. I didn't want to invite her inside, but honestly, given how desperate she looked, I also didn't want to deal with her where my neighbors could see. This woman told me that Christmas was about family and forgiveness. She told me I was taking it too far by keeping her grandson away from her and how confused he must be without her. She said it like I was using my son to punish her. I told her it was better this way because we all knew what had happened if Erin had a child someday. My son would be pushed to the side like the rest of us were, and I didn't want that for him. She said I was being ridiculous and once again used that line, "I love you all equally." I asked her to leave because nothing was changing my stance and I wasn't going to be spending Christmas with her. She got angry. She started yelling, and while I want to say I kept my composure, I didn't. I started yelling too. The more I yelled, the more worked up I got, to the point that I started shedding tears. Reddit, this was years of hurt rushing to the surface. I don't think I will ever understand how she can claim to love us all equally, but tell her crying son to stop being so dramatic. She left only when Jade came back and saw the state I was in. Jade's little but fierce and would do anything for me and my son, and I swear my mum left terrified of her that day. The social media post picked up again. She played victim, shared posts about children not respecting the sacrifices mothers make for them and stuff like that. She posted about how we didn't appreciate all that she had done for us, but we all ignored it. We did our own Christmas. Jade, our son, and I visited the in-laws on Christmas morning, watched our son and nieces open their presents there, and then went over to Lydia's house. She offered to host us all this year. Dad took place in the kitchen, joined by his assistant chefs, Josh and Lydia's husband. We didn't see our mum or Erin until January. Lexi turned 5, so there was a party, and we weren't about to punish our sister for the actions of the demon that birthed us, so we went. There were some questions, but people didn't push when it was obvious that none of us wanted to get into it. Mum acted like everything was fine, but Erin stayed away from us. At the end of the party, we were helping clean up. Mum said it was good that we were finally putting things behind us. Lydia told her that the only thing we're putting behind us was her. That started her off again, but she quickly realized she was outnumbered and headed inside. That was when Erin approached us with her husband. Honestly, I was expecting her to tell us to go easy on our mum or something, but instead, she apologized. She said she'd been doing a lot of thinking since all of this started, and she realized that she treated us badly her whole life, and part of that was influenced by the way our parents treated her. She told us she didn't expect us to forgive her, but that she just wanted to tell us that she was sorry. We left a little while later. There was silence at the end of January and in February for Leo and Nadia's birthdays, but we were expecting that. Our days never did matter to her after all. I got married in April without my mum present. It was hands down one of the best days of my life, second only to the birth of my son. Jade and I were surrounded by people who we cared about most and who cared about us in return. I had both my brothers as my best men. Nadia and Lydia were bridesmaids too. It was better than anything I could have imagined. Honestly, I'm still blown away by the fact that I now get to call Jade my wife. It's been amazing, but I'm sure you're all wondering how my mother handled this. I can tell you plainly that she did not handle it well. Truthfully, when we sent out invitations, part of me hoped that the news just wouldn't get back to her. I hoped it'd go smoothly enough that I wouldn't actually have to talk to her about this decision, but of course that'd be too easy. She showed up a few days later banging on my door, demanding I talk to her. I went out, I didn't let her in, despite knowing that the neighbors could see us, and that was solely because I didn't want her inside my home where my son was. I didn't want her scaring him like she was undoubtedly doing. She demanded to know what I was playing at, how I could be so cruel, how I could exclude her from such a special day. I told her plainly that my wedding day was for me to celebrate with my close loved ones, and she wasn't someone I considered close or a loved one anymore. She made her bed, she had to lie in it. Part of me worried that she'd turn up at my wedding. She came by the house a few more times, but stopped when I threatened to call the cops. I didn't do it sooner because I guess I'm soft at heart, but didn't want to see my mum in any trouble. But every time she showed up to spew some bullshit about me being a terrible son for doing this to her, it drained me. There were social media posts, of course, and I had relatives reaching out to me to tell me I should invite her, what kind of son am I, etc. But they stopped when I told them I'd take back their invites too. No one mentioned her at the wedding, and she didn't try showing up. She did, however, try to prevent Lexi from being a flower girl, like I promised, but Dad quickly nipped that in the bud. Which takes me to the next point. My parents are officially over. Dad sent her divorce papers sometime in February, and I don't think he's looking back at all. This is something that also shocks me, because this time last year, he was much the same as she was. He was someone who cared more about Erin than any of us. Someone who brushed off our achievements if they somehow interfered with hers, and now he was an advocate for us. Every time Mum posted something on social media belittling us, he responded with a post uplifting us. I never imagined having such a good relationship with my dad, but here we are. We happened to move into his own place back in March. He's a new man, honestly. He's worked out a 50-50 custody agreement for Lexi because as much as he'd be happy to have full custody, he wants to believe that she can change like he did. He has said, however, that if he catches even the slightest hint of Lexi being mistreated like we were, he'd be filing for it. In the case of my siblings, life has been going good for them too. Leo got a raise at work and has adopted a dog that my son is obsessed with, to the point that I think we may need to get a dog ourselves. Josh and his partner are going strong. He fits right into our family, and I couldn't be happier for Josh. He's found someone that really cares about him, and I can tell he's in love. Maybe there will be wedding bells there soon. Lexi's 5, so there's really not much going on in her life. I think she recently made my dad join her tea party. A quick edit to add. Lexi is obviously aware that things have changed. She's naturally confused about it all. Things changed so much in the space of a year, and I can't imagine what it was like for her living with our parents when Mum was angry all of the time. We've let her know that we'll always be there for her and that we're safe spaces if she needs to talk about her feelings or if she has any questions to ask. We don't want this affecting her more than it already has. Josh is the one who's made headway on that. He works in childcare and has experience in things like this. Dad is thinking about setting up therapy for her. But I'm sure some of you are wondering about Nadia and Erin. Nadia's great. She's honestly thriving. I think being away from our mum, Erin, and the pressures at home has helped her find herself as a person. She's made new friends, excelling in class, and she's just an overall happier person, which is all I care about. She's happy, I'm happy. She's been invited to move in with my dad. Now that he has his own place, enough room for her and Lexi, but she hasn't decided on an answer yet. She's more than welcome to stay here if she wants, but I know that she also wants to be closer with our dad. I'll support her no matter what, and I've told her that she can try it with dad if she wants, and she can come back if it's too weird for her. Erin is another story. We are no longer no contact with her, but we are low contact. After her apology at Lexi's party, Leah reached out to see if it was genuine. All of us were pretty stuck on what to do, to be honest. Erin was never someone to bow her head and apologize, but how could we know if it is genuine and not a ploy to get us to forgive our mum or something? Erin asked to speak with us in person and Leah reached out to her. We agreed because we were curious to see how it'd go. We also agreed that if she tried anything, we'd be leaving immediately and would block her again. The meeting happened in mid-January, between Lexi and Leah's birthday. We met at her place. Erin looked like a nervous wreck, like she hadn't slept all night, and honestly it was really weird because she's normally so put together. Like even when she was throwing tantrums, she looked better than this. We sat down and she started off by apologizing to us again. She said that she was needlessly cruel and unfair to us, especially Nadia, and even apologized for trying to ruin her graduation. She said when we all backed out of her wedding, she was confused and hurt because none of us had said no to her before. She thought we were closer than that, but realized now that it was one-sided. She thought we were close and we just wanted to be as far away from her as possible. We asked our questions and she answered everyone. Why do you think we were close? Because she'd been acting this way since childhood, partially encouraged by our parents' treatment of us versus her, and assumed that since none of us said anything about it, we were fine with it. Did you ever feel sorry? She didn't. Before this whole fiasco, it was normal for her to be the center of attention. Everything was always about her, and she was trying to unlearn that. Why now? It came down to her husband. He tried talking to her a few times about her treatment of us, but she never saw an issue with it since, well, we never made it an issue before. He didn't like that response, but he loved her and she was a lot kinder outside of our family unit, so he hoped that if he kept talking to her about it, she'd eventually stop. They fought when she announced their engagement on Lydia's anniversary, and they fought again when she booked their party on Nadia's birthday. He couldn't understand how she could be so cruel to her family, and she told him that he didn't understand our family dynamic, and that we were cool with it. The stuff with Nadia's graduation damn near ruined their relationship, and I don't know how she convinced him to stay with her because George admitted he was very close to walking out the door. She said she was on our mum's side for a while because she really did think we were just acting out. We'd never been like this before, so why would we like this now? She didn't get why we were ignoring her, why we'd suddenly cut her off, and admittedly had a breakdown over it. George told her we'd likely been carrying that hurt and bitterness with us for years. She said that she knew she was a brat but didn't realize how bad she really was until George and our dad laid it all out for her. That's why she told Mum to leave us be, so that we could have peace from it all, and it turns out Dad wasn't the only one bearing the brunt of Mum's anger. She was constantly blasting Erin's phone, turning up at our place, dragging our names through the mud. It got worse when Dad moved out and suddenly Erin was all she had in the world. Mum called us awful names that Erin thankfully didn't repeat. Mum told Erin she was all she had now. George vouched for how bad our mum was. Said he'd come home from work, often to find Erin staring at a ringing phone. She didn't want to answer but knew if she didn't eventually then Mum would turn up at her house. I know Erin was awful to us ever since she was born, but it really hurt seeing her like this. I think she herself was a victim of our mum's behavior, albeit in a drastically different way. She said she wanted to reach out to us sooner but knew we probably didn't want to speak to her. She just couldn't help herself when she saw us at Lexi's party and needed to apologize. We parted ways conflicted. On one hand, Erin has always been selfish. She'd been manipulative and downright mean. She always found a way to overshadow us at every turn, at every achievement. Nadia's graduation was proof of that. On the other hand, she looked tired, she looked worn, and she looked guilty, and I didn't want to believe that was an act put on for the sake of us getting us to forgive her and then our mother. None of us were sure how to proceed, but then Jade suggested that we invite her to the wedding, or rather, we invite her to the reception after everyone's eaten. We had a few friends coming at that time too, who couldn't attend the wedding itself due to inescapable engagements. That way, if Erin did try to bring our mum, security would catch it and would know for certain whether or not Erin had turned a new leaf. Reddit, Erin attended the reception. She didn't bring our mum. She didn't even mention her. She and George arrived and Erin cried as she congratulated me. She told Jade she looked beautiful and hugged my son. At some point, she took Nadia aside, and when they came back, they were both a little teary-eyed. Getting a little bit emotional myself here. Nadia later told me that Erin wanted to apologize to her properly one-to-one and didn't know if she'd get another opportunity to do so. George thanked me for giving Erin a chance. He told me that she really could be a warm, kind-hearted person. I told him I hope to meet that version of her someday, and I mean it. If Erin is truly as warm and kind and wonderful as George believes her to be, then I want nothing more than to meet that version of my sister. Now, you may be wondering, OP, you forgot to mention Lydia when talking about your siblings. That was on purpose. You see, it's a good thing Dad moved out of her spare room. She's going to need that space in a few months, and she's not the only one. I knew Lydia was pregnant because she sat both me and Jay down to tell her she was pregnant and worried about her bridesmaid's dress. Even offered to step down if it was a problem. We of course told her not to be ridiculous and that would cover the cost of any alterations needed. In the lead up to the wedding, Jay told me that she planned on having Lydia make an announcement during the speeches. I foolishly assumed that Lydia was going to announce her pregnancy to our extended family, and while I was a little hesitant, I agreed since Jade wanted this and, well, at least she'd gotten permission, like someone would have. Reddit, Lydia made a speech about pregnancy and how she couldn't wait to be a mum, and how she was grateful to be sharing at least part of her pregnancy journey with Jade. Reddit, this was how I found out my wife was expecting our second child. Again, I wish I could say I maintained my composure, but I didn't. I cried. I was so overwhelmed with happiness that I couldn't help myself, and I'm sure my friends will forever make fun of me for it. It felt like all the shit we've been through these past years was worth it, all for that moment. To have my family rally around me in an event that I'm sure would somehow have been made about Erin and her wedding if my mum had been present. I haven't spoken much about how this past year has made me feel. Truthfully, I felt like shit for most of it. I felt like curling up and disappearing. I felt rotten and useless simply because my mother told me I was. I felt sometimes like I couldn't show how I was feeling because Nadia was here and I didn't want her to blame herself any more than she did. I'm in therapy now, and I'm not the only one, and I'm healing. Right now, I'm happy. I'm so unfathomably happy that I can barely understand it. I'm happier than I've ever been, and I know my siblings will say the same. While our mum will probably say that our family has fallen apart. That's not true. Hers has. The family that she made has fallen apart, but ours has grown stronger. It has grown so unbelievably strong. We were a united front before, but it's now like we've upgraded our defenses. We're coming out of this with stronger relationships with each other, a real relationship with our dad, and 2 new family members on the way. This is what our mum is missing out on, and it's all our own fault. Maybe I'll update you again in the future. I'm not sure if our mum knows yet about Lydia and Jade's pregnancies, but the announcement is out there. We do have her blocked on social media though, so maybe no one's told her the good news. Erin hasn't at least. So if anything happens on that front, I'll let you know, but for now, I'm happy with where my life is. Thank you all for the support again, and I hope you're having an amazing day. So OP comes in with another update, which was just under a year later, and said, so it's been nearly a year, and as expected, a lot has happened. I was thinking about leaving this another 2 months to hit the 1 year mark, but I don't trust myself not to forget. Mum found out about Lydia and Jay's pregnancies shortly after my last update, which went about as well as you could expect. Lydia and I became the targets of her rage as well as our partners. We were the worst people in existence. She turned up on my doorstep and screamed through our Ring camera that she's ashamed of how I turned out. I'm waiting for the day her words don't hurt me so much, but she is my mum, and I think there'll always be a part of me and my siblings that will want her to love us. Honestly, I think she made 17 Facebook posts a minute, each one painting us as villains for denying her the rights as a grandmother. She had our aunts call us and tell us we were being ungrateful. One of them managed to catch Jade as she was coming home from work one day and didn't like it when Jade told her where to stick it. I've never cut contact with someone so fast. Mum had to be escorted off Lydia's property by police at one point too. We wanted to ride it out, but when we spoke about it as a group, Lydia and I decided it was for the best we pursued restraining orders against her. I couldn't risk the safety of my family anymore. Thankfully, they were granted, and she has thankfully stuck by it. The four of us haven't seen or heard from her since, but the others weren't so lucky. In July, Erin actually cut Mum off. She blamed everyone but Erin for it. It was Lydia's fault, and then it was mine, and then it was Nadia's. It was Dad's and Leo's and Josh's. Every one of us was an enemy, every one of us but Erin. I hate that I was used to the blame. I talk a lot about how happy we are now, but before happy, we were sad and angry and hurt. I felt like dying, and Josh nearly did. Parents aren't supposed to make you feel that way. I hope to God my kids never feel like this because of me. I both hate my father and love him dearly. He's trying, he's better, but he was once just like our mum. Dad applied for full custody of Lexi too. I think we've all realized that Mum isn't going to change, and the best thing to do for Lexi is to prevent her from turning out like the rest of us. She is so young, and I cannot imagine her living through the things that we did, through possibly worse, when we have already escaped. Currently, the fight is still ongoing. Mum doesn't want to give Lexi up, but because of her very public issues with the rest of us and the restraining orders, Mum only gets to have her on the weekends. Dad still isn't satisfied. Lexi started coming home from her weekends with Mum saying she doesn't want to go back, so Dad's pushing harder to cut Mum from the occasion completely. Erin has integrated further into our circle. This Erin is a lot nicer than the one I grew up with. I tell her a story and she doesn't roll her eyes at me, doesn't tell me that nobody cares what I have to say. She isn't perfect by a long shot, but she's trying. We can tell her she's done something wrong and she'll apologize. She is in therapy. We're also on the list for family therapy with the 6 of us and Dad. We're hoping it'll help us move on more. We're hoping it'll let us heal. Mum may be a lost cause, but Dad and Erin aren't. And honestly, that's more than I ever could have even hoped for 2 years ago. Nadia absolutely crushed her first year of college, and she's crushing her second too. She took Dad's offer to move in with him, though she knows that she always got a place with me too. She's a lot better at expressing herself now, so she doesn't let Dad get away with anything. Nadia and Erin actually talk now. They spent over a decade under one roof, but they never really talked. Erin thought Nadia was beneath her, and Nadia was too afraid to anger Erin. Now they talk and bicker like sisters, like they should have been doing all along. Erin arranged for the two of them and Lydia to have a girls' day to celebrate Nadia's successful first year in college. This is the sister we deserved, and we are the siblings Erin deserved in return. We don't shrink beneath her anymore, we're equals for once in our lives. Erin is also flourishing in a new role as an aunt to all 3 members of the next generation. That's right, my son is officially no longer the only grandchild. Lydia gave birth to her daughter in September. She got lungs like no one else and the strength of an elephant, but she's cute as hell. Jade gave birth to our second son in November. He's quieter than our eldest was, and for a while he barely slept. Both Lydia and Jade are doing great though. They're doing amazing, but I knew they would. Right now I'm happy and I'm content, and my mum cannot touch this. This isn't for her to corrupt. She will never know these beautiful, wonderful children, and she will never know the versions of us that follow. I hope this will be the last update. I hope this peace will persist. Thank you all for your endless support. You have no idea how heavy these last 2 years have been, how helpful your words really were to us. A commenter on the back of this quoted OP saying I felt like dying and Josh nearly did, and it says, excuse me, but what? What happened to Josh and why is everybody skipping over that? So much anxiety came from reading that little bit, and I need a resolution, please. A couple of months later, OP found it and replied in the comments and says, came across this comment and felt the need to reply. I'm sorry it's a few months late, but I only log into this account when I need to make an update or I get the random urge to. There's not much I can share for the sake of my brother's privacy, as well as the privacy of the rest of the family. I know our issues are sort of aired out here, but there are some details I've kept to myself and will continue to do so. Josh gave me permission to include the initial line because we wanted to show that it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows in our journey to heal and separate ourselves from what was really a toxic upbringing. When all of this started and we took a stand against our parents for what I think was for the first time in our lives, we only considered the relief and peace we would get by doing it. We thought that even if nothing changed with them, it would with us, because we'd had enough to know that we couldn't tolerate it anymore. We didn't consider the pain and suffering we kept bottled up inside and ignored all our lives. We didn't realize that by taking that stand, we're not only opening the door for all of that to come rushing out for us, but also making room for more hurt. I tried to keep my posts as positive as I could, while also updating those of you who cared about our situation. I wanted to focus more on the good than I did the bad. I wanted to show that we were healing and growing and finally being true to ourselves. But as I've learned these past few years, healing isn't linear, and it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. We were all hurting in more ways than one. We tried leaning on each other, but I know some of us tried to keep our own pain hidden to make room for the others. That's particularly true for Josh, who as the oldest brother wanted to be a safe space for all of us. I was diagnosed with depression in the interval between updates. I'm not the only one. Josh now is a lot happier than he was at the lowest point of all of this. He's so happy. He and his partner are living together. They've adopted a cat. He's a happier and healthier person than he was. We all are, and I can assure you of this. We're still in individual therapy as well as family therapy. We have no plans to stop either in the near future. Thank you for your concern though. It's weird that people on the internet care more about us than our own mother does. But what can you do? I think first we have to start off by saying a huge congratulations to everyone. New babies, Nadia smashing college, and honestly just making it to this stage as a family. That's no small thing after everything that they've all been through. The update is bittersweet in some ways. On one hand, it's amazing to see what happens when even one parent eventually takes accountability. No excuse in the beginning, but the dad stepping up, Erin growing and changing, and all of you rebuilding these relationships. It sounded like real progress, not just words. And good on you for letting Erin back in after everything. It sounds like Erin went through a lot. Because Erin did really stand out. It showed how much of her own behavior was shaped by the environment that she was in, and it may have happened to the younger one as well if she continued to stay there. But once that dynamic broke, she actually had the space to grow into, it sounds like, a real, much kinder, nicer version of herself. And I don't think it was really a surprise that the mum didn't change in the end. The signs were there from the very, very beginning, doubling down to the point of restraining orders and losing all of her kids. It's just tragic, isn't it? And she's still choosing pride and blame over having a relationship with any of you. Now she's missing out on grandkids, milestones, everything by her own actions. Absolutely madness. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Wow. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, truly. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.